Okay, so today I want to talk about Lewis dot diagrams and kind of what are they and how are they used. So what they do is they look at valence electrons. And so remember, valence electrons are the electrons in the outermost energy level of an atom. And so by looking in the periodic table, we can kind of know how many they have based on these numbers as well. Or also by their group number. So if in your group number if you're in group number 17, you take the 1 off 17 and 7. That's how many valence electrons you have. So I'm going to start with lithium because it's going to be really easy. So for lithium, it's in group number 1, so it has 1 valence electron. So I'm just going to draw 1 dot on this. Next, I want to do oxygen. This will get me into kind of teaching how to do Lewis dot diagrams. So for one atom. So oxygen here is in the 16th group. And so that means it's going to have 6 valence electrons. So 6 valence electrons. To do that, we're going to start on one side, and then we're going to go around, adding 1 to each side. That's 4, and then I'm going to add 2 more. And I kind of go around in this circular way, in the way I lay them out around the atom. So I want to think about oxygen here, and think about dividing the atom up into quadrants on each side. And each quadrant on each face, almost. So if I put a little line here for each face, and we draw a box around the letter, see how there's there's 2 little nice spots on the atom. And if we put dots in each of them, if we put all of dots around it, we get 8. And so when you draw the dots, you want them to be in that quadrant laid out. So we can easily see, okay, here's a pair, and here's 2 open ones. So for oxygen, that's how we draw it. And when you go around, you want to stay on one side and spin around on one side, because for filling order, they like to sit on the bus alone, electrons, before they will sit with someone else. And so they fill up together, and then they'll fill up in pairs. So let's do one with carbon here. Carbon, group number 4. So it has 4 exactly. So start at 1, one side, one side, one side. We're good to go. So that would be carbon's thing here. Now I want to show what happens in an ionic bond. So I'm going to use the always good one, NaCl. So let's draw it for chlorine, and let's draw it for sodium. So sodium is in group 1, and so it's going to have 1 valence electron. Chlorine is in group 17, so it's going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 valence electrons. So what's going to happen in the bond? In the bond, this electron, we can draw an arrow over here to where it's going to go. It's going to go over here. So now I see that this electron transfer has taken place. Sodium will now have a positive charge, and chlorine will have a negative charge, because chlorine got an electron, which has a negative charge, and sodium lost a negative electron, which will give it a positive charge because of the protons in it. So that's kind of how we can use a Lewis dot diagram to represent a chemical bond. So if we were to redraw this, we could redraw it with Na over here and then Cl, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's kind of a Lewis dot diagram and how to draw it.